Hey y'all, welcome to Gadfly, the podcast about third parties, fringe candidates, and generally weird American electoral history. I'm Dusty Wilson.
I'm Una O'Leary.
I got it right after so much time away. Y'all, I thought that was going to take a few takes. We got it on number one because we're professionals.
Yeah. It's like riding a bike, Dusty.
It must be riding that podcast bike. So, as I'm sure a lot of you know, we've been gone for 6 weeks, a whole month and a half, if you will.
We've been practically European about this podcast.
Right. Well, I mean, speaking of which, because you were in Europe, you know.
Yes. Yeah, I was in Norway, among the waterfalls and the fjords, and it was beautiful. It was breathtaking.
That's amazing.
Also breathtaking in the fact that I was hiking and went from like a low 100 step count to 19 kilometers up.
Yeah, your tales of hiking were absolutely horrifying, especially when you discovered that you essentially were doing tourist hard mode without even knowing it. So for any of our listeners in Norway, you know, Una's a real one.
Yes, we went to the domestic tourist centers, the little hot spots, and it was we did the hike the opposite way that all y'all Norwegians do. So please don't be mean to me when I am in your fair country.
Please clap. Just please.
please clap.
So yeah, you know, that's where you've been. I moved, and so that's been you know, a fun time because you know moving's very, very easy. So
it's like hiking 19 kilometers uphill, but every day for several days.
Correct.
And then staring around and wondering why you still have cardboard boxes everywhere.
100%. And every once in a while the air conditioner goes weird and a guy comes over and like, oh, that's because there's a block of ice in here because you got a leak.
No.
Yeah. It's been fun discoveries, but things are much better now. Things are a lot more calm at the moment. So calm, in fact, we're doing an episode.
Well, and let me also congratulate you now that you are a homeowner, a white male property owner.
God.
You can truly vote in this
finally,
country. You can really, truly vote.
Like, I can absolutely not be scared about my vote being taken away. And I thank you for recognizing that. And I will put in a good word with the patriarchy next time I see them.
Thank you.
They're not going to listen to me, but... But yes, thank you. I appreciate it. It's been horrifying and terrifying, and here we are. But for this new episode, I figured, you know what? We should ease back into it.
Yes.
Mostly because I did start research on our real next episode, which is going to be talking about the Constitution Party's nominee for president, a guy by the name of Randall Terry. And I didn't realize I was going to have to read so many court cases going into this.
Fun.
And at least 2 of them are Supreme Court cases. So, you know, I'm giving myself time to you know, I've been I don't want to go into this lazy. I don't want to develop a bunch of new terrible habits, you know, now that we're back.
Absolutely.
So we're pushing that one off. We will be talking about it. But yeah, and so the title for this particular episode is going to be How's Everybody Doing?
Oh, Dusty. If
the past 6 to 8 weeks, every candidate has had something not great happen.
Dude, like the past 72 hours, like I was a radically different person last Tuesday.
It's reminding me a lot of what that time period between 2017 and 2021 was like, where each new day was a new horror. And at least with Biden, it's like specific horrors. We know where the horrors are coming from, and it's mostly Gaza. But it's at least at the barest minimum predictable until it fucking wasn't.
Yeah.
So we are going to be going a little bit outside of third parties in this, talking about the 2024 election. We are going to talk about Donald Trump. We are going to talk about Joe Biden. And then we're going to talk about kind of a special third at the end.
Okay.
So we're,
hit me with that, Ralph Nader. Let's do this.
So we're going to take this from like the worst thing that happened down to stuff that's like still bad, but comparatively not the worst.
All right. And we are going to offer absolutely 0 tips on self-care or what you can do to make a better world or really anything. Just
Laura Jadid, who's a journalist I really, really love, posted on Twitter saying, "Hey, how are all of you dealing with, the specter of the end of the world, or at least the end of America as we know it?" And I couldn't even think of a joke. I was just like, I guess I just play RimWorld a lot now. I'm trying to squeeze in as much like simple pleasure as I can.
Yeah.
There's like a
Yeah.
movie I haven't watched. Now's probably the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little walks when it's not 90 degree and
Yeah.
100 degree with humidity.
Or like somewhere between 6 to a dozen tornadoes all at once. Because we were going to record last night, but Chicago kind of got hit by a real record number of tornadoes.
Yeah. And enough where you realize that you have two cats and only one pet carrier.
God. Oh, Sullivan is not sharing that or
No,
getting
he's
in it.
not. Correct.
My God. Oof. So yeah, so we're at least gonna start bad and then get easier. So this is at least, a little
Okay.
different than we do things.
I like that.
Yeah. So let's just rip the band-aid off on this one. There was an assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania, of all goddamn places, against Donald Trump. Now, a little bit of Dusty lore. I'm actually familiar with Butler, Pennsylvania pretty dang well.
Get out.
I used to live in Western Pennsylvania in Mercer County, and Butler is where we would go to pick up country music clothing.
Stop.
My dad was super into country music, so by default, so was I for quite some time. Only listened to country music until I was about 15 or 16. So thank you, Green Day, for that. But it's like the store we would go to get clothes for going to country concerts and things.
Oh my God.
That's where I got my boots. It's where I got my first cowboy hat. I got so many bolo ties because I'm like, this is fancy.
Dusty, do you have pictures of yourself from this time?
Oh, I'm sure they exist somewhere. I would, I could find you some to not put on the internet.
Okay. All right.
Because if I remember right, it was also around this time I had my mullet for a year or two.
Hell yes.
Yeah, I was a trashy child, if you will. So yeah, so for this sort of thing to happen in Butler, Pennsylvania, a place that I know for as just being so conservative that a country clothing mega store could thrive.
Mm.
It's quite shocking.
Okay, well, here's what I love about this. I mean, aside from like Twitter's reaction being a mix of like flood this site with memes so the FBI cannot figure out who to go after first. Let's do this. But then also like, the sidebar showing like top 5 things trending, and it's like shooting, he missed. How do you miss one job?
Right.
But
it's
then
wild.
and here's the thing, because of course, like it already, now that we know that the shooter was like a kid, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
A white kid. Since then, like now the, I guess, op-eds about him, or like, the little blurbs about him are like, oh, he was so well loved and he was part of a gun club. No, what I heard was he got kicked out of the gun club because his aim was so bad. It was actually dangerous.
Yeah, he did not make the rifle team in high school because he was that bad at aiming.
So like
Well, I mean, to be fair, he has had years to practice, so I imagine aim gets better. I don't know what the argument is here.
It's also like, it's one of those things where it's like, I understand he was shot, right? I mean, he's dead, correct? Like
that's the crazy thing is there's like, the main source that he got shot is Donald Trump himself saying that he felt the bullet.
Oh.
I have seen theories that it could be glass from the teleprompter because that explained like
I don't mean Donald Trump. I mean the kid. Is the kid, like they said, suspect was shot, right?
Yeah,
and so that's the kid.
Dead. Yeah.
He's very dead. Okay, so I understand why, but I also am like, do you maybe just want to, I don't know, tackle him and then be able to ask questions like why?
From what I could tell, tackling was not an option. Because at least the play-by-play of what I've read is that the police and the Secret Service had about a minute and a half warning that there was a guy on top of a roof. There was a cop who tried to climb up on top of the roof, and then the rifle got pointed towards him. And then that was the moment where the kid took the shot, and Secret Service immediately, retrained to where he was and shot.
Jesus, what a clusterfuck.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. There was I wish I could remember the guy on Twitter, but there was a former cop who had worked a number of sort of presidential events and gave his own little breakdown of how this could have happened. And the way that he put it is that the Secret Service is typically in charge of the immediate area around the president and the long distance from the president. So anyone who's like really good sniper, they're keeping an eye out for. And everything in the middle is all local cops.
Oh,
yeah. And so
interesting.
the way this kid was dressed, and this is something that Robert Evans had brought up, is that he was dressed so much like local law enforcement, and that he was wearing khakis and like a tactical YouTube t-shirt. Like
he looked like a narc.
Yeah, he blended in perfectly well. So if there's it was so much to the point that if they looked over there was a real chance they could think, oh, that's local law enforcement. That's like someone else.
Wow.
And the guy had actually brought up an example of, I think he was saying it was a George W. Bush event where the Secret Service was not told that local SWAT was going to be on a roof and very nearly sniped the local SWAT because they didn't know they were there.
Come on.
Yeah, it's communication all around is typically not very good.
This is the Spider-Man meme.
Pretty much, yeah. It's not great. So it's been really interesting reading about that because a minority of voices are just like, no, just some people are bad at their job. And if there's a fuck up like this, it's usually going to be the local cops who don't have experience with this sort of thing and don't know what to look out for.
I mean, for fuck's sake, yeah, I genuinely assumed you were going to say like, oh, Secret Service takes care of like, the immediate surrounding area of president or whomever, and like far away, like sniper range. And then everyone in the middle has already gone through multiple like checks,
right?
Bag checks. Like, yeah.
Well, and where the guy was, it was outside of those checks. He went on top of a building that was near the fairgrounds where the rally took place and just climbed on top before anyone could stop him.
Wow.
Yeah.
And oh my God.
Yeah, it's
these people keep getting billions of taxpayer dollars. It's local
wild.
cops, I mean.
Oh yeah. It's wild because the other thing that I was mentioning too with people is that, you're not getting presidential Secret Service if you're a candidate. You're getting,
right.
No one's ever, since I think Teddy Roosevelt, no one's attempted to assassinate a candidate. It's just a waste of money to give a candidate the sort of protection that a current sitting president has. So you're going to be working with, not the top tier of the Secret Service. Not to say they're bad, but
oh no,
definitely going to be fewer in numbers. There were literally 2 snipers from what I could see, and while the president just gets snipers all around him wherever they go. So yeah, I don't. This kind of leads into the fact that I know this is going to really ruin your day. There was a recent poll that found 1 in 3 Democrats think Donald Trump staged his own assassination attempt.
Oh yeah, listen, Dusty. I might be in that group.
No. All right, we're gonna talk. I'm talking you off the ledge because this has been driving me insane. There's a couple of people I've seen.
Know that it doesn't come from a serious place. It comes from like everything inside me is dead. So why not?
Okay. I was gonna say that's the one exception I make. There are a couple of people who are just like, fuck it, let's get creative. Let's see if we can figure this out. All right. Okay.
I'm not at yarn board yet, so you have time to pull me from the edge.
Okay, great. So, just a little selection, a little tasting platter of conspiracy theories that I've seen thus far. That no one died, and that Donald Trump had a blood pack in his hand that he put on his ear. And as for the cuts on his cheek, he used an old wrestling move because he's really tight with the WWE and took a razor blade like old wrestlers used to do and just did little cuts to make it, because if you do a little cut on your forehead, you're bleeding everywhere and it's a huge pop and the audience fucking loves it.
Yeah, with those tiny fingers, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, it's very frustrating that people think the most vain man in the entire goddamn fucking world.
Yeah, a known germaphobe.
Right, taking a pocket razor blade to his fucking face. And that
I can see him accidentally having a McDonald's ketchup packet in his hand.
Yes.
And squeezing it so tightly, but that has nothing to do with the attempted assassination.
Right. I mean, that shit's exploding in your pocket. I don't give a shit.
Yes,
I mean, yeah. And it's, oh my God, it's so frustrating reading that because a lot of people who were also on that train mentioned the photo of him as he is being taken off stage, which is an amazing picture. It's him raising his fist, bloody ear, Secret Service around him, and in the background is the American flag flying in the air.
Yeah.
It's shot from like an upward perspective, and they're just
It's like the worst AI generated Iwo Jima picture from World War II you could ever imagine.
Yeah, it's and I'll admit it's a great picture. And that's because it's taken by a Pulitzer Prize winning photojournalist.
Right.
And there's some people who are just like, that looks too fucking good. They just let him take the picture and everyone was all set up to do it.
But yeah, some people have been devoting decades of their life to their art.
Right. Yeah, I mean, God forbid that, a bunch of photojournalists from the press or working on the campaign decide, to go to a campaign event in a place that politicians typically don't go.
Mm.
And then the moment something historic happens, a few of them take very good pictures. Obviously, the fix is in.
I want that said for the National Geographic journalists who get the photos of like a squirrel like quietly sniffing a flower.
Look, that squirrel was very clearly in on it from the start.
Yeah, it's too good. It's like, yeah, bro, I've spent like the past 5 years waiting for this shot.
Right? Yeah, you haven't seen all the other time I've been laying chest down in the fucking forest taking pictures of like chipmunks, waiting for a squirrel to show up. It's so fucking infuriating.
I will say what is truly infuriating to me for the idea of like it being staged is like, no, lefties. We did not sit through the tragedy of Sandy Hook and then Alex Jones and then the Alex Jones bankruptcy to suddenly turn around and learn the wrong lesson.
Right. It is, I think I tweeted this, but it is such Alex Jones loser behavior to do this. And I mean, no surprise the people who are the most all in on this are like, I've been loath to use the term blue MAGA, but it's been very clear.
If the shoe fits, yeah.
Like a lot of Biden diehards are just very all in on this being a conspiracy of some sort, which, all right, let's just say, sake of storytelling here, that, all right, Donald Trump hires a sniper and the sniper makes the agreement to wound him and not kill him. What all has to happen for this to work out?
Yes.
Now, once again, I'm bringing up Robert Evans, who's a journalist for Bellingcat and Crack.com and a number of other outlets. He had brought up, shooting an AR-15 and why they are typically present during a lot of mass killing events. And an AR-15 was the gun that was used for this. And the predominant reason that it's used by a lot of people and why it's so deadly is that it's actually a very weak gun comparatively. So there's not a lot of recoil. And so you could shoot a lot of bullets without really getting your aim thrown off. And so it's a gun that can cause a lot of damage, but it's a gun that most people can use.
Right.
He had brought up that the shot, I think it was like 400 feet, is a shot that like most people with practice could probably make if you were aiming towards a kill shot. But saying that this person was aiming particularly for the upper earlobe to graze the ear, the amount of patience that you need for that, the amount of skill that you need to be a top tier marksman to shoot for that. Donald Trump needs to not move when that's happening.
Yes.
One of the most emotive speakers that we have had.
Truly. And then like, does this shooter have stage 4 terminal cancer? Because he's got to know that like, he gonna die.
Yeah, you need
that's it.
I can't remember that Johnny Depp movie that never got released where he's like, like paid a lot of money to die or something, but all the money's going to his family or something.
Right. One of those.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where it's like, that's a very specific person that's easy to find if that's the case. To find one of the best snipers in the world on the verge of dying, and all of a sudden his family is like, 8 cars rich.
But that's also the most believable part of this, which is that the Trump campaign would be like, yeah, no, we will totally cut you a check. We can absolutely shuffle the money around. And then this guy's dead. So it's like, oh, what invoice? I'm sorry. Click.
Yeah, we will tell the Secret Service to stand down. You'll be fine.
Just like the family never gets the money because who are we talking about at the end of the day? Yeah.
I mean, that makes more sense than anything else I've read so far.
Yes.
He like many a Polish builder, he chose not to pay him.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my God. Yeah. Have you heard any other conspiracies that are going around about this?
No, I just had a grand old time on Twitter with a number of like the gallows humor hot
Mhm.
takes, like someone being like, well, he didn't die from this, and someone else posting like fingers crossed emojis, like it could still get infected.
My the one I really liked is well, because they looked into the shooter, and the one thing that they were kind of able to find is that he does have a conservative background, but it's kind of been brought up that most political assassins don't have very clear motives, or at least motives that are very difficult to get unless you live in their head. The assassin of James Garfield, he's assassinated by a guy named Charles Guiteau, who had convinced himself that he had donated enough money to the Garfield campaign that he was going to get an ambassadorship, and when
Oh
he
no.
didn't, he shot James Garfield.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
complete, that's a sort of motive that you can't figure out in a day or two. You kind of got to go into the weeds, look into someone's correspondence to really understand what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, and even then it's conjecture. It's because
Right.
it's like why would anyone do that when you can just hold a grudge?
Right, right. And it's, we're probably not going to know the motive behind this for quite some time. Like even the Las Vegas shooter, people will still bring up we don't know the motive for it other than the fact that he was, a serial gambler and an asshole. And that's
Mm-hmm.
enough. That's
Yeah.
exactly enough for someone to do some crazy shit. So,
Yes.
I definitely sense we're going to have more dark days with this and more stranger conspiracy theories coming up. I think you're definitely going to get some people on the center left or left who discover they can make a lot of money by being very conspiratorial in this way, and they're starting to kind of rise up on Twitter to the point that they're definitely the people pushing this the most, and I don't think learned any lesson from Alex Jones.
Yeah, and it's I mean the most frustrating thing, and I've seen this like across social media and everywhere. So I know I'm not alone, but it's just the sense of like, yeah, he got shot. No one should be shot at,
Mhm.
full stop. Even someone as repugnant as Trump.
Right.
But then like I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like I'm never going to get it, but I just wanted the Democrat. I just like Nancy Pelosi, especially, to just not like do the nice thing of
Mhm.
sending condolences or whatever, and just either be like sit it out and be like, yeah, no one should get shot. Also like, and just I just want some acknowledgement of just like his people came to your husband and bludgeoned him with a hammer. Like
Mhm.
these are not equal sides here.
And then made up conspiracies about how it was a love tryst gone wrong.
Yeah. So it's just like, yeah, he like, okay, he got shot at. He will
Yeah.
receive the best medical care
Right.
money can buy, and like he's going to be fine. So like, let's all just move the fuck on.
Well, and really the only major difference I kind of get from it is that someone in the bleachers behind Trump did get killed. So someone did die from this. So I
Yeah.
kind of understand how, like, in association to that, gallows humor really doesn't work so well. But in the same token, it's also like, a lot of people have brought up, like, if Biden had been assassinated, or if Biden had been, grazed by a bullet, probably wouldn't be getting the same thing from the Trump camp or many other people,
Absolutely not.
which
Absolutely
is a
not.
telltale sign of fascism.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So there is that. And then good old James David Donald Himmel Vance, US Senator from Ohio, quote unquote Appalachia, is the vice
Uh,
presidential nominee. As one of his roommates, who is now roommates from Yale Law School, who's now a state legislator for the state of Georgia, said, "This is a victory for jerks everywhere." I don't know if I have much to say that we didn't already say during our JD Vance episode, because this is just dark.
yeah. Well, is okay. Okay. I will say this because I did see it pointed out that the year he won his Senate race,
Mhm.
he won it by like 53%
Mhm.
to low 40 something.
Right.
Whereas Mike DeWine, a Republican that year,
Yeah.
won his race at like 60 or so, like
Oh yeah,
high.
Ohio freaking loves Mike DeWine.
Okay, but that also means that like a chunk of Republicans also looked at JD Vance and was like, ugh,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, I had a feeling that no matter who got picked, it would be a real bummer.
yes.
That said, there's one joke that Donald Trump does that I always find fucking hilarious. this. And that is whenever he dangles a position that someone really, really wants above their head and is someone that he has made it widely known that he despises. He did it to Mitt Romney in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And he did it again this year to Marco Rubio because Rubio was on the
Yeah.
short list of the final three who might end up becoming vice president. And I think all of us but Marco Rubio knew that was not going to fucking happen.
Yep. So don't cry because it was JD Vance.
Right.
Laugh because it wasn't Marco Rubio.
Great advice. Love it. Oh my God. Yeah. So I don't know. How do you how do you feel about this going forward? A lot of people have been saying like, oh great, now he's gonna win because he almost got killed.
Yeah, I feel like that's a stronger indication than any sway JD Vance could possibly have. I, for one, might even tune in to watch Kamala just wipe the floor with him.
Yes.
Like
yes.
That's my kink, but I don't know about others. I'm, for one thing, is like I think there's so much, because we're so good at it, there's so much doom and gloom from like general Democrats right now and forever always, that I get a little reactionary to it. So in my mind, it's like I don't think JD Vance is any better or worse than any other. Like no one voting for Trump is voting because and he also picked, like no one gives a shit. It doesn't matter. I do think JD Vance has been so outspoken with his adult conversion of Catholicism, and everything that comes with that it could, I think that I'm optimistic enough to say that's like that could be enough of a push for suburban female voters to vote against him, right? Because it's like, nope, this guy is crazy and wants to take away IVF, so like don't vote for him.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't like no fault divorce, but I need to look into that. Yeah, so I think that is probably a good segue to bring up the kind of bad month and a half that Joe Biden's been having.
That is something that I've really been putting my head in the sand, like to the point where I finally asked my very establishment Democrat friend how to think and feel on this situation, and she in turn sent me the Pass the Torch Joe website with all information. I was like, oh wow, I have not been paying attention. Okay, let's dig in.
It's not been great. So I think we can just go back to the debate. I did not watch it because it's gotten to the point that I really can't stand to hear either Trump or Biden talk. At one point, I would listen to every single, in 2015, 2016, I would listen to every single rally that Trump did just because I found the opening speakers to be kind of like a prophecy of what to come, because they had less to worry about what they said.
Oh boy.
But it just got to the point that it's just great. It's greatest hits now, and I don't need to listen to the CD again.
Right.
So I'm not going to learn anything new watching these two debate. I already know it all. But what I didn't know is that, Joe Biden would come out in a debate, and I've had grandparents. My grandma on my mom's side had Alzheimer's. My grandpa on my dad's side had dementia. And from the clips that I saw, it's like, yeah, I recognize what's happening here.
Oh boy.
It's one of those things that really felt like sundown. Now, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a neurologist.
Yes, correct.
So I could be completely wrong. It could just be old age. And but I think it's really disheartening to see so many of the blue MAGA sort who are just trying to gaslight Joe Biden into health. And it's just been, I don't know. What how did you feel seeing the debate, or at least any clips from it?
Didn't watch it at all. Didn't watch any clips. I think because like that's that it's like it makes me feel so cringy. It's almost like watching like ice skate champions, and it's like, oh God, like any like misstep on the ice is so bad. I can't. And similar to you, it's like I'm certainly not gonna learn anything new, and I Trump's voice now just like makes my skin crawl. So it's like we're not subjecting ourselves to this. But yeah, what I will say is like I heard from some people of like, I think I did like my mother's take on it, which was that she was so infuriated with Biden's team because apparently he had been traveling everywhere,
right?
And he you get a cold. And meanwhile, it's like, she's like, not that much younger than him. And she gets wiped out from like just taking a flight from New York to Chicago, like
Right,
to say
right.
nothing of like running the United States.
Exactly. Yeah.
So like you put a little bit of NyQuil in that body and you're gonna fuck someone up.
Right. Right.
So she's just like they went in with this hubris of like, no, we can totally do this. It's gonna be so great. But meanwhile, it was stacked to have him come out like as a zombie and as old and all this stuff. And I think where I do start to get a little bit into like conspiracy theory rabbit hole is someone on Twitter was pointing out like video from Joe Biden speaking in 2016 and then again in 2020 to more recently, and kind of pointing out like, long-term COVID effect. Yeah. Because and that was just one of those things where it's like, oh, because it's not just Joe Biden in my mind. Then it's also like anyone who's had a relative as well. It's like, oh, we're all going through. Like, I definitely feel dumber day to day than I did 4 years ago.
Yeah. And it's, there are definitely telltale signs of that. I mean, the persistent cough that is not going away,
right?
Lethargy and all of that. It does have a lot of the hallmarks of long COVID. So that could very easily be a case too, but it's also another thing with like, should he be running the country if he's not well?
Yeah.
I don't know. I like I said, I'm not a doctor, so I don't really have the answer to this. I mean, we had a president who was, catatonically brain dead during the 1910s, and he just ran the country for a while.
I was going to say, on the one hand, it was clear that on the one hand, Reagan definitely had Alzheimer's in his second term.
Oh, yeah.
On the other hand, Reagan absolutely had Alzheimer's in his second term.
Oh, yeah. Everything bad that we have right now is thanks to Reagan and people taking advantage of him having Alzheimer's in his second term. And he wasn't exactly good before that.
He was not good. Like the seeds were planted in the first term, but
yeah. So I don't know. It's definitely disheartening, and I think the interviews post debate have been just as disheartening too. Last week he gave a press conference after the NATO summit. The best way I could really summarize it is old man yells at press. Just because every time they questioned him about his fitness to lead and all the rumors coming out of people in the Democratic Party not supporting him and not putting their name to it because they don't want to destroy their careers outright, and him just getting visibly furious every time anyone brought it up.
No, man. I mean, I understand that anger though. Like I get it. And I think there was a video getting passed around a bit from a either a US rep or a state legislator from, I want to say Georgia, who was asked this, he's a Democrat, and he was asked the same question by someone on, I think like even MSNBC. And he just took them to task of saying like, yeah, okay, he is old. You keep asking this question, and every time you do, we are not talking about Project 2025. We are not talking about Donald Trump being a sociopath. And he said, it's like this vote is between Biden and a sociopath. That's what's at hand here. And I was just like, yes, I feel like that's whether or not, the Bernie and AOC and Jeffries and all these people are wrangling the Democrats to fall in line and either be behind Biden or like really like ask Biden to step aside. It's like no one seems to like be hammering that message of just like the press is failing so hard, so hard. Like that's what infuriates me constantly. That is just this one question of like, is Biden old? And it's like, yes, he is. Trump is also insanely old. And I think after that, like I'm willing to have behind closed doors among other Democrats the question of like, yeah, he should step aside. Like we should step aside yesterday. But in the meantime, like remind the press that they are picking up a paycheck for doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I will counter that. I think it is incredibly important just because of, I think it's very, very difficult when you can't really get anyone on the record saying these things. Like there hasn't really been that many people aside from Congresswoman Marie Gluesenkamp Perez. She's pretty much, as far as I know, the only person just come out and said he should just resign. now, just due to his health and the way that I've seen him act in private.
Mm.
But everyone else is very, very keenly putting their job ahead of how they feel as of right now. And it's definitely one of those things that, like, if he's not doing well, you need to tell people. Like, if he is not going to be mentally fit due to dementia or any other sort of neurological disease, that needs to be made publicly aware as soon as possible. And the fact that, like, there have been a number of journalists who have said, I've been hearing rumors about this for over a year that he is like this, but we can't get anyone on the record. And so this debate was the first time that we ever had proof in the open that this is happening. So what you're seeing is pretty much people like unloading their notebooks of things that they have had all year. And it's taking a while. Terrible timing. Really bad timing.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, I mean, again, well, okay. I have two competing thoughts that are trying to come out at the same time.
Yeah.
So just say both at the same time. Because of the, like, yeah, the one comment I will make is like, Dusty, this is the party of Dianne Feinstein. What do you want from us?
You are not wrong. You are absolutely not wrong.
And two, just being like, yeah, and if it were the Republicans, they would just weekend at Bernie's, and the press would still not say a goddamn thing. There would be no recourse about like, I feel like so and so is getting a little long in the tooth. And
I will say one of my favorite anonymous quotes of this was, we're gonna run this horse right into the glue factory.
Jesus.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
So but then, like, the other thing that popped into my head, because I was thinking of like, oh, well, if the Republicans were doing this, it's like the Republicans act like, once again, their strategy is just always stronger, because the problem is that they bring in like fucking 22-year-olds who, you know, and then put them in a judgeship so that they can just rule for forever, being puppets of the Federalist Society. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, it also makes me think of how, like, I don't see, I've always wondered how it's like, I feel like, forget millennials for a second, like, I feel like we don't even see that many Gen Xers in politics. And maybe I'm just like not that into the system, but I always figure it's like there aren't that many millennials because we were all told to go to Harvard Business School. And so all of us just sidestep any kind of
just a bunch of policy majors, like just sitting around being sad.
Yeah, it was either indie music or McKinsey.
Yeah, I think that's definitely in the as you put, you know, the party of Dianne Feinstein, is you have a lot of people who just don't want to give up power. So you don't see a lot of millennials or Gen Xers in positions of power. And that's, you know, to the detriment of the party very much, I would say.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And meanwhile, it's like there's I don't know what kind of like mentorship is available as a result within like the deeper bench of the Democrats. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I definitely get the feeling that a lot of the pushback is like, it's a mix of like, well, it's a risk to do this because it's not something that's really ever been done before. The closest that people have ever been able to bring up is the 1968 election when Lyndon Johnson stepped down. But he stepped down during a time that like RFK was the obvious frontrunner. He was going to be the nominee, and then when he got assassinated, it was just complete chaos. And
right.
So it's not really a perfect one for one that a lot of people are
right.
making. And I think that, you have a unified voice of who the nominee is going to be, it's going to go down a lot easier.
Yeah. It's also like the DNC is coming back to Chicago, so it's like, don't give me this unprecedented. Like, no, it's lining up pretty fucking well.
Decently well. I will say I am looking for a wheelchair so I can go to the DNC protests. Ideally, one that if it gets covered in tear gas, no one will mind. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously something that comes with risk. In my head, I think it's riskier, I think, to continue with someone who has so many question marks, especially when it doesn't seem to be that people think he is the best candidate, but it seems, and this is just my opinion, more so people who are just of a generation that is not willing to let go of the power that they have.
You know what? I will add to that of saying, like, because I think not letting go of the power, like, absolutely. Yes. Like, I don't think they understand it that way. I think actually, like, I think part of the blindness is the fact that, like, because I see this with like my parents thinking and everything, is like they truly don't understand that the world has moved on completely. You know, it's like, and I think you're right, because I feel like I start to hear those arguments of like, it's unprecedented and like, you know, it's never been done, but so things could go wrong. And I think for everyone just at like the basic voter level. It's like we've like nothing about this is secure. Nothing like you still think that this other side is playing by the same rules as like 1972.
100%. Yeah.
That world is so far gone. And so it's like, so instead, like, yeah, fucking pack the court, like make huge changes, start up some new referendums for the constitution. Like, right. I don't fucking just show me you will do shit right now.
Exactly.
And that and which, as you said, it's like, which includes like, yep, okay, we're stepping down, we're putting in someone new. Fuck it. Yeah. Like, what's the worst that goes wrong? We lose, we could lose anyway. So right. What does it matter?
Exactly. Yeah.
Go big.
One of the most depressing things is, especially talking about, people who have let the world pass them by and don't notice it. There was a report today of 3 anonymous people within the Biden election team who have said, we're all just accepting there's going to be a Trump presidency.
Get out of your job and let someone else do it. I mean,
exactly. And
leave.
We're talking about conspiracy theories a lot. One of the ones I hear a lot from the left is that, Joe Biden and the Democrats are like fine with losing this election because it means they fundraised a lot of money off, yelling at Donald Trump, and, being the party that's not getting blame, they'll get a lot more money from doing this. I don't know if I buy that 100%, but people who are out here saying like, well, we're just going to lose anyway, and Biden being asked, well, what happens if you lose and Trump becomes president, and his reaction of being like, well, as long as I try my best, that's all that matters.
Yeah, no, not for a lot of minorities and trans kids.
Yep. There's a lot of lives at risk going into this election. I think that's the other thing that really pisses me off, is that I've always viewed Joe Biden as a stubborn asshole. It's just he's usually been a more coherent stubborn asshole.
Sure. Or he's stubborn about the things that matter to you. And right. Yeah.
But one of the things that really sucks is that when you start slipping, when your mental capacity starts slipping, your worst aspects tend to be the ones that shine through the hardest. So he's kind of left with just this stubborn fighting spirit that has convinced him that, I did it once, I'm the only person who can do this. I don't at all believe that. I think there are at least 5 or 6 people that you could put onto the top of the ticket who would win very, very easily against this chucklefuck. But, I think going forward, the way things are now, I think it's just like, if it's the most important election, if this is the election that decides democracy for this country, then you need to act like it. And yeah, it's unfair, but the parties don't play by the same rules. It's incredible. Yeah. But you have to understand that those are the fucking rules. That's just how it fucking is. And so you either accept those as the rules and do everything you can to hedge your bets against them, or you keep acting like the rules don't exist and you hold your head high that you fought with civility and with the old rules, and you still have your decorum, and you can just fly away somewhere else if shit goes bad.
Yeah. She says, knowing that she absolutely sent her documents for an Irish passport.
Yep. So you want to be an expat? Here are your options.
Oh, I'm all over it. Yes, we have to do it. Yeah,
we're gonna move to Svalbard.
Yes, exactly.
There's an amazing Reddit thread I read on it that's just extremely good. So that's at least gonna be.
I saw something about how there's like a small business visa that's very easy to obtain for the Netherlands.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So yeah, we'll get on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with I do think it is important to bring up this final fact. The Democratic National Committee announced about a month and a half ago, I think maybe 2 months ago, that they will not be nominating Joe Biden at the convention. And this is because in Ohio, the date that they had for the deadline to submit major party candidates was a week before the Democratic National Convention here in Chicago. And so they were like, okay, there were some people in Ohio who are, you're just like, we're not going to move the date and Joe Biden's just not going to be on the ballot. And Mike DeWine, being the guy he is, was like, no, we're going to pass a law and change this. Just give us some fucking time.
Okay.
The DNC, not wanting to take a risk, stated that they plan to endorse Joe Biden early via Zoom.
So it's an elopement and then there's a party.
Right. The thing though is that Ohio's already passed the law pushing the date back, so there's no reason to do this.
Oh, okay.
But the DNC supposedly is still meeting this weekend via Zoom or I don't know, maybe Teams. I don't know what they use. Whatever this they're using Skype. So
they're on Slack.
Oh god. So they're all going to hop on Slack and nominate Joe Biden just weeks before the convention. So when there are protests at the convention, they're not really gonna, they're no longer going to be trying to convince people to vote for someone else as the candidate. It's now just going to be anger. So,
Yeah.
and technically, there's up to maybe 3 to 5 days for Joe Biden to step down, because once he is named the nominee of the party, there is no going back and there is no changing. And a lot of people have noticed that since the assassination attempt on Donald Trump, the push within the Democratic Party to push Biden aside has died, because it is inappropriate to push him to step aside during such a serious moment.
He didn't die. He's walking around Milwaukee with a little pillow on his ear.
Right? Someone else died. He did not.
Someone else died.
The Democratic Party has also suspended advertising for the past couple days, which is, a great thing to do when the RNC is happening. Biden's canceled a couple of events and stuff like that. Yeah, so it's been perfect. He keeps playing by these fucking rules of decorum that don't fucking exist anymore.
Don't exist. It just doesn't matter. And
it's infuriating. It's really, really fucking infuriating. So I don't know. Richard Winger of Ballot Access News, a website I'm a huge fan of, he noted that they still haven't said for sure that they're nominating him this weekend, but it's the specter that's kind of hanging that, like, out of nowhere they could just decide to do it, and then there's no going back and no pushing him out. That's slightly less bad than attempted assassination, though, right?
It feels worse because I'm a Democrat.
Good point. Well, I should leave you then on like a silly note, one that's like
a silly
humorous and just really, really tasty with the I don't know, real satisfying, real comfort food, if you will. So we talked about it a year ago, but Dr. Cornel West is running for president.
Right. Yeah. In fact, one of the single family homes in my neighborhood has a Cornel West sign in their front lawn, and every time I walk past, I'm just like, why and how and why and what? So yeah, lay it on me.
Oh man. So Cornel West has had a real rough year running for president. He initially was the candidate for the People's Party, which was rife with cultish behavior and alleged sexual assault, and was a party of about 5 active people when he agreed to run for president for them. A couple weeks later, he's convinced by Jill Stein to run for the Green Party nomination, does that for a few months, and we eventually find out that amidst a bit of infighting and a feeling of bitter betrayal, Cornel West decides to go independent. Allegedly, this is because the Green Party expected him to take part in Green Party debates and actually run for the nomination and not just have it given to him. This is something that Jill Stein has more or less stated occurred, and that he was incredibly betrayed when she didn't leave the Green Party with him.
Wow, this is some bitchy high school nonsense. I love it.
It's wonderful. So Cornel West has been trying to run as an independent, and in a few states he's created his own third party, because in some states it's easier to run as a third party candidate than as an independent. State to state, it is confusing bullshit, which is why we need the British parliamentary system that is the same across the board.
Yeah, but we're too gerrymandered for it to work.
That's true. Anyway, so state to state it really varies the way that you get on the ballot. But if he'd have stayed with the Green Party, he would have had about 22 or 23 states automatically where his name would be on. And since he's running as an independent, he's starting from scratch. Now, he has been able to get on the ballot in about 5 states by hooking up with local third parties that were on the ballot. In Colorado, he's running with the Unity Party. In South Carolina, he's running with the United Citizens Party. In Nebraska, he just got the endorsement from the Legal Marijuana Now Party. So it's kind of working out. The only state, though, that he has successfully gotten on the ballot, though, as an independent is Michigan. But that one, it's still not verified yet, but they're pretty sure they're on the ballot in Michigan.
Damn, Michigan. Okay.
So this brings up a major thing, and that is that Cornel West and his campaign are fucking broke.
Well, I bet.
To date, they have raised $1.1 million, of which they spent $1.1 million. As of the end of May, they have $15,000 cash on hand for the entire campaign.
Yikes.
The summer FEC filings are coming out this week. The Cornel West numbers tend to come in last. I don't know if it's that they send them out at the last minute or if that's just they go alphabetically. And so like West is at the end. So we'll find out in a couple of days financially where they are. But based on the numbers, that puts them around like 12th or 13th in the amount of cash on hand compared to other candidates.
Wow.
And this has translated to him not getting on the ballot in a lot of key places that he needed. Of the top 10 states that have the most electoral votes, he has not gotten on the ballot in 4 of them. He's not on the ballot in Texas, New York, Illinois. He is not on the ballot in Illinois. You cannot vote for Cornel West in fucking Illinois.
My neighbor has their stupid little lawn sign for nothing.
For nothing. They're going to write in Cornel West, and that vote is going to be thrown out before it's even counted. And so as of today, North Carolina said that they are not going to have him on the ballot. Now, North Carolina has a very shitty history when it comes to getting third parties on the ballot. In 2022, a guy named Matthew Ho was running for, I believe, Senate for the Green Party, and the State Board of Elections outright said, we're not putting on the ballot. He had more than enough signatures. All the paperwork was filled out. It was just very clearly, you're a member of the Green Party, and we don't want the Democrats to be hurt by you being on the ballot. They took it to the state court. State court put Matthew Ho back on the ballot because it was very bald-faced. But this is the sort of thing that third parties worry about in North Carolina. So going into this, the Board of Election had a series of hearings. They approved the Constitution Party to be on the ballot. They approved Robert F. Kennedy to get on the ballot. There he's running for the Justice for All Party, I believe. No, he's running for the We the People Party, which is the RFK campaign invented. But
this is in South Carolina.
This is in North Carolina.
North Carolina, right. Okay.
And the argument kind of came down like, is this a legitimate third party, or is this someone trying to get around on things? And there are a couple of people who are actually running as We the People candidates. In Hawaii, they have a couple of nominees that are running there. So technically, it's operating as a third party.
Okay.
However, the Justice for All Party, which was founded by Cornel West, only Cornel West is a candidate for that party.
Oh.
And so that's part of the worry they had going in. The main reason, though, is that the Board of Elections noted that they had gotten a number of calls from people who said that petitioners for Cornel West had not been truthful about what petition they were signing. And this kind of seems to be an across-the-board thing that we're starting to find out, that, if I remember right, in New Jersey or New York, there was a bit of a complaint that a number of people for Cornel West were saying that they were handing out petitions to get Donald Trump thrown off the ballot, but it was actually to get Cornel West on the ballot.
I mean, that's, well, okay, but the people signing that is like, did you really believe that's a petition? I don't know. I
mean, it is
all of
important
it
to read
feels
whatever
weird.
you sign. That needs to be out there. Anything you sign, whether it be a contract or a petition, read what you're signing. But it's also like federal law. You have to be very clear about what you're doing as a petitioner when you talk to me. So the Board of Elections said, all right, we're just going to subpoena the petition company and the people who did the petitions. They can come here and tell us what happened. And the petition company said, no, we're not going to do it. And so no one showed up
to a subpoena.
Yeah, they ignored the subpoena and just let it ride.
Wow.
And so the Board of Elections, in a 3-2 vote yesterday, decided Cornel West will not be on the North Carolina ballot.
Boom. Yeah.
So let's look at the top 10 states for electoral votes. That leaves California, where Cornel West, it's borderline impossible to run as an independent in California because you need to get so many signatures. He seems to be relying pretty heavily on the Peace and Freedom Party endorsing him, but all signs are pointing to them endorsing the Party of Socialism and Liberation and Claudia de la Cruz. So more than likely, he's not going to be on the ballot in California. In Florida, I can't find any proof that he actually filed to run there. Looking at the deadline was today, and his name is nowhere near on it, and no local party has endorsed him. So, which funny thing, the People's Party is actually a minor recognized party in Florida as of right now. Doesn't mean you get on the ballot, but it's, it could have given him a leg up, I suppose. So it's not looking great for him. And as of right now, even with the 4 states that he's not running on, he has over 100 electoral votes that he is now ineligible for. He is ineligible for 20% of the electoral votes that are out there. And
this is a fool's errand.
It's kind of ridiculous at this point. And the funniest thing of all, today was filing in Oklahoma to run for president. And if you're an independent there, Oklahoma makes it very, very easy. If you're an independent candidate, you give the state $35,000 and then you're on the ballot. That's all you have to do is just cut a check. Robert F. Kennedy did it. There's a guy named Chris Garrity, who is a 35-year-old recent grad student out of Brown, who did it.
Where's he getting that money?
I don't know. He had Ivy League grad school money or doctor money.
That's true.
So.
Yeah.
Cornel West didn't.
Well, yeah, he's only got 15 grand.
Right. If you were running even half of a decent campaign, you would have had the money to be in Oklahoma, whether you thought you were going to get votes or not. And it's to the point that if this isn't a dead campaign, I don't know what is, because I don't know where else he's going to be able to pick up any of these votes. You know, as of right now, he is on the ballot in 7 states worth 44 electoral votes. Not even close to a chance of winning. And, you know, I wish we'd been able to put this episode out sooner about Cornel West, because I want to say, I hate to say it told you so, that this is not a serious campaign and not a serious human being running for any sort of change or help.
No, at this point, it's like, I don't even think I could call it a grift, because what money are you walking away from?
Right. That's the thing. Is it for it to be a grift? The money needs to be going to you. And, you know, I've heard rumors of how certain aspects of the campaign can be a grift, but the grift is dying. The grift is near complete. And, you know, I don't think the candidacy is really going to end officially until August. Like after the Peace and Freedom Party nominates who they're going to get, because that's 54 electoral votes right there. That's a make or break sort of thing. And if they do not endorse Cornel West, I don't see any use of him running any further. Other than, I don't know, pride.
Right.
Which, you know, we have a lot of old man pride going along in this election. So it would be par for the course.
Yeah. I mean, that seems to be the theme of this year's election.
You know, I feel like I owe you a really good bit of good news. Vermin Supreme finally got nominated by a political party to run for president. Are you familiar with the Pirate Party?
No.
So the Pirate Party is a European political party that initially started out, I believe, in the mid-2000s, 2010s, to be a party that supported technological and computer rights and more of a technological knowledge, based kind of on the idea that if you're going to be making laws about the internet, you should know how it works.
Yeah.
And it's very much based off of, you know, MP3 streaming and downloading.
So this is already like clawing at my millennial heart.
100%. Now the Pirate Party is not on the ballot in any states whatsoever, which is, you know, pretty regular for Vermin. But as a party, I like them a lot. They're really lovely from what I've seen so far. Vermin's got some new swag where it's a black pirate flag with like a pony skull and then 2 toothbrushes for the crossbones. Yeah, he's probably not gonna be at the ballot anywhere, but you know, I'm glad it's happening.
God bless. Yeah.
Ooh, thoughts, feelings about all that?
You know, this is good. I needed to process some feelings that I had that resulted from avoiding the news and putting my head in the sand. Yeah.
Well,
glad I could process it with you.
Oh, I do miss this. This has been great. Yeah. Well, our next episode, we're going to be diving back in, or we're going to stay with the 2024 election. We have so much catching up to do. Speaking of which, I think we're just going to focus on the major third parties on here on out. The Constitution Party had their convention. The Libertarian Party had their convention, and it was a wonderful clusterfuck with so many weird little events happening after. And the Green Party is going to have their convention at the beginning of August. So I think we're just going to focus on them for now. I'd love to cover everyone who's going to be on the ballot, who at least even gets one state of ballot access, but I don't think we're going to have time to do that. And I need to go back in history to talk about things that used to happen and not be freaked out about our future.
Yeah, we need the solve that only history can provide.
Right. Oh, one other bit of news before we go. As of this morning, Gadfly has a Patreon.
We have a Patreon. We're a legit podcast now.
Very true. We are now adults with a podcast. So yeah, as of right now, nothing is on there. But we are planning to put up some unpublished episodes that we have completed, but didn't really have room to put anywhere. We're kicking around some ideas of things that we could add. Una, there is your idea for a world politics sort of thing where you teach me about French parliamentary elections.
Lesser known elections in various districts of various countries.
I might throw up an interview or two. I'm not really sure. It's more so a thing that it's like, I don't really know how much we're going to be able to offer patrons, but it's more of a thing that like, if you want to help us out, we'd really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Lowest tier is like $1 a month. The highest one's like $10 a month. So if you wanna hop on, we'd really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll slowly add something. But yeah, I think that's everything.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll see you next time, and we'll see you here on Gadfly. Do. I remember the theme song. Do.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Oh my god. Gadfly is a production of Added Serotonin.
Our episodes are edited by Brianna Valentine of Rem Alternus Productions. Our theme song is Sophomore Makeout by Silent Partner, and you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at GadflyPod.
Ready to level up your cosplay game? Check out the Geek Forge on Etsy. With a variety of props to give your photos that extra spark, you'll find just what you need. Hold magical fire in the palm of your hand, or take a potion to restore your mana. With a large variety of colors, you can choose your own magical flavor for your cosplay. Bring drama to your photo shoots with these vibrant props and more, all available at the Geek Forge. Are you ready to level up your cosplay?